Speedgaming. I'm Fried Potato, and welcome to the SGL 2024 Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer Tournament. Second match between Hataks and Skar. Hataks is up 1-0, and it looks like this match will potentially be the deciding one, although we will find out here in a little while if they're going to go to a third match. I'm joined tonight by my tracker Socket. Thank you very much. Be keeping me honest and helping us kind of keep track of what the racers have or have not done. I hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. Another late night race between these two should be relaxing and chill. Hopefully the seeds don't have anything awful to throw at our runners. It looks like we're going. Phoebe start, very nice. She does start with fire and thunder this seed, which you'll love to see. The quests, however, are not fantastic. I will say that. We'll go over those in just a minute as I get a moment to pull them all up. While they're taking on some battlefields, it looks like an early bone dungeon as well as some potentially important locations. A live forest, that's fantastic to see early. Alright, our quest for this evening. We have Tristram as the other available companion with Mine Battlefield, defeat Squidite, defeat Ice Pyramid, get the Crystal of Water, and defeat Ghidra. Phoebe tonight is fantastic. She learns Light at 23. She gets Blizzard at 34, funnily enough. And her quests tonight are defeat Minotaur, defeat 2 mini-bosses, save 2 crystals, and clear 14 battlefield. So, all in all, not fantastic quests, really. Not ones you're going to see completed early, which may slow down these runners as the seed goes on. A lot of times you like to be able to knock one of these quests out of the gate to level up a companion and move on a little quicker through some of these battle tiles. It looks like they're still doing fairly well. Some easy enemies here at the start, which you gotta love to see if you've got to do the battlefields to get progression. I see we've gotten a mask so far, it looks like, on Hataks' side, but not much else so far in the seed. Phoebe critting, gotta love it. Just more battlefield cleanup for Hataks on his side. I'm not sure what's going on with Skar's stream. Looks like maybe it hitched a little bit. We'll get that back right there. Yep, looks like. Alright, so Hataks, taking a look at what else there is to see. We've got Sand Temple. Very interesting because you're going to take this Tristram. They haven't found any progression yet, and it looks like, based on what's available, it's either in that battle tile. Nope, Hataks has cleared that. That's where the mask came from. So, Tristram here is guaranteed to give you some form of progression. It could be an axe and make you go all the way over to a live forest and chop down some trees. It could just be a coin. We'll find out here shortly. River coin, alright. At least some immediate progression lets you move on into the map. Interestingly enough, it does mean that they're forced to leave Phoebe behind for the time being. And until they can get to Libra Temple, they're not going to be able to pick her back up. So that could prove to be interesting, depending on what's in the next area and how difficult it is. Yes, and as chat points out, it could have been bombs and let you clear the entire dungeon. That's one of my favorite things to get from Tristram there. Let me just do the whole thing while I'm here. Let's get Bone Dungeon early. You wouldn't be able to do life strats without a leveled up companion, but Flamerus is, you know, outside of mini bosses, pretty sad as far as health goes. It usually doesn't put up too much of a fight, although in this tournament and flag set so far, we have definitely seen some mean flameresses. Resta, it looks like, another town as well. That's nice. Get some free key items, some free healing here in Foresta, as well as, you know, where you're going to need to return if you want to do that Minotaur quest. Just cure, nothing fantastic, although you're never sad to get more healing, really, just because a lot of times with script shuffle, enemies are throwing out things that are doing a lot more damage than you're used to them dealing in vanilla. Hey, pay to win seed. We've got a sand coin for 300 gold, immediate unlock of another area, which is great. That's 2 out of 3 down. You love to see it. For us, that means lots of choices. For the runners, that can be a downside. Sometimes you don't want to get your coins right away so that you can try to clear the areas. That's something I personally like when running this flag set, is being able to do a little more before I'm presented with immediate more options. See some scouting level forest here in the same region, as well as sealed temples. That's great. Cat claw pickup on Scar's side is nice. You've got the mine as well as some battlefields. Convenient placement for Foresta and level forest being in the same area. It means tree wither quest will be fairly quick to complete, provided that, you know, they're not way off somewhere else in the world and need to make the slow trek back. With the Mobius crest, maybe the warping will be available later on in the seed, but we will see. A nice Fireberg battle tile here, not one that's terribly difficult. Generally, the oozes not not super strong against a lot of the weapon types that you're wielding. Although we do see it still taking 2 hits, because again, we're still stuck with level 1 companions. And as far as weaponry goes, we still just have a steel sword or a cat claw. So nothing upgraded at all. So it can definitely make clearing the battle tiles a little slow. I'm not sure what Skar got there, but it was enough. Oh, white, it looks like. Oh, very nice. Some damaging spells. That's going to send him back to do something, and I'm not sure exactly what. Oh, he's going to go just move on and go do the sand coin. All right, he's not going to bother with anything else over there, and just going to check out what else is in the seed. Is rewarded immediately with the Knight Sword. The second sword, not great, not sad to see it. It's something. I guess it's a little more damage in his tank, although he's got white now. If he can afford seeds, he'll be living the dream. Firebook for 500 gold, no thank you. That will probably never be purchased. There's no reason to spend that much money on fire. Tristram 2 gives you a magic ring, not terrible, and it looks like Scarcer decided to go ahead and pick up some seeds. We still haven't seen Aquaria, but there's plenty of battle tiles out there to get more seeds, to get more money to buy the Aquaria item, which is also only 200 gold, so not terribly expensive either. Looks like we've got Volcano with another freebie. The multi-key, something with the claw, does unlock another check now in Fireberg. And once you get the Mobius crest, it means you've got a convenient warp between Windia and Fireberg available to you, which I love having. We see both runners now pushing Ruben off to the mines, where they'll probably visit him later. All right, 3 swords, and boom, 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 we're done with swords. Excalibur, personally my favorite like base weapon outside of mega bombs. It swings for a good amount, gives you some nice speed. Love to have it. Sword also means the ice pyramid is available, and we see both ice and lava dome just right next to each other there. Lots of locations here in this sand coin region. Wow. 3 out of the 4 dungeons just right here stacked, one on top of the other. And Scar's just heading right in, gonna take a peek for some shards, probably go over to the right and get this freebie and another shard peek, and then make the decision if he's gonna continue on. He does have a claw, which means the drop down is available. Well, I guess even without the claw, you could go all the way to the drop down and fall and see if that check is there. But you'd really prefer to have bombs so that you can clear the entire dungeon all at once. Or at the very least, get to all the checks. Did we see? I missed it. Hataks was moving around too quickly. We might have gotten to Libra Temple. Yes, Chad asking, you can go to the drop down. You can, even without a claw. Oh, as we see, Skar looks like maybe heading further in to maybe do that drop down check. So yeah, even without, I believe, a claw or bombs, you can go up here, flip the switch. Oh yes, thank you. And fall down and get a box. Sometimes it'll be required. You never know. We see a Libra Crest pickup. That's fantastic. It opens up another slot, and we're going to want to find Libra Temple anyway because chances are Phoebe is our long-term companion. Tristram, with 2 quests done, would get Exit, which runners tend to prioritize. I know I do. Exit is great to have. But sometimes, you know, the Tristram quests are not worth the time to invest in doing that. And with his quest tonight, Mine Battlefield and Squidite pretty easy, depending on where Mine Battlefield is and how much power they have when they get there. Squidite also, I believe we just saw right nearby, and once they have bombs, will be available to take control of and get Tristram that level for Exit. But again, I foresee Phoebe in our future. And Hataks heading back into Focus Tower. Thought he had the Sand Coin, perhaps, but maybe was thinking of the Libra Crest. There are a lot of items getting thrown out, lots of little checks and things to follow up on. It looks like there's still a couple battle tiles out there for people, as well as some partial dives. Although it does look like as Hataks ventures over the map more and more, that Ice Pyramid is probably the play, because the only thing they have really is the sword and a basic claw. And they can't do anything other than maybe take on a dual head Hydra, which nobody wants to do early. But here we go. Skars are going to drop down and show us if this is indeed required for some sort of progression, or if it was just a wild goose chase. Ran into an encounter, of course. No mirror ice pyramid. At least it's in the Aquaria area, so it is not, difficult to kill the enemies fairly quickly when you get there. And Hataks running through ice now, following shortly behind Scarsor. It doesn't look like this ice pyramid has been super bountiful with shards, which is a little sad, especially if this turns out to be some redirected progression, and they're going to have to revisit Ice Pyramid later on in the seed. Yes, got chat pointing out that they do have white, so the 5 battlefield, or the 5 encounter battlefield, as well as Medusa, both on the table, potentially doable. The only downside really I see is health pools. With level 1 companion and Benjamin at level 7, he doesn't have a lot of health to mess around with, and there are a lot of abilities that can take you down real quick. That said, those things could still be required. The seed doesn't have to play nice, and we're going to see here shortly as Scarsor gets to this box without another encounter. What it is, and it is the Sun Coin. So we have to move on to another area, and if Ice Pyramid is otherwise required, either the drop down after the bombs or the box after Ice Golem himself, we will get to come back and do this again. Very heads up play though, realizing that you're fairly limited on what you have access to. You know, they really had some bosses or that box here in Ice Pyramid. So making that decision, and it definitely paid off. Scarcer a little bit ahead now as far as checks go. Although these, you know, we're only 14 minutes in, so anything can happen over the course of these seeds. Hataks putting that white to work. Gotta love it. Why waste time, especially if you have the seeds to throw around, and you know you're going to be able to dupe them here. Ice Pyramid is a great place to do your seed duping, because in the 2 wide hallways you can run away from an enemy pack, and you know sometimes you're just going to reset for a more favorable encounter tile anyway. And at that point, if you've got a seed, might as well dupe it. That's what I say, at least. Both runners here already got the Sun Coin, just clearing out the rest of Ice Pyramid for shards. They want to get as many as they can. You need 24 shards to put together the Shattered Sky Coin, which will allow you to go into Doom Castle and take on the final boss. Yeah, Hataks here in Aquarium. I'm not sure. Did we see the shop already? The Aegis Shield. Fantastic purchase. Best shield in the game. You want to have that if you can get it. I'm terrible with vanilla knowledge, to be honest, so I don't know what resist it provides off the top of my head. But I know you want the Aegis Shield if you can get it, and that is enough for me. It looks like chat chiming in to help me out there. Petrification, that is definitely in the script shuffle a choice, a choice resist you're going to want to have. And Mega Grenades in the Sun Coin freebie. That is some progression now. Now that's our bombs straight to the end. No bothering with, you know, any of the in-between bombs. That puts all of Lava Dome, Ice, Wintry Cave. All of that is now completely in logic, as well as Bone Zone. And now we see Hataks coming in here to take on the Crab. Should not be a difficult fight. A fairly low-level mini-boss, all things considered. He has white, as well as megas now. You know, still no leveled-up companions, but the mini-bosses under the belt will help. Progression will help. We'll get there eventually. Eventually, our companions will not be level 7. See, looks like, yes, paralysis and petrification. One thing that I've learned about the script shuffle is that you want status resist. Every enemy in the game can roll some form of status resist, and the last thing you want a boss to have, or you know, some quick pack you're trying to clear a battlefield to get a quick key item, and the enemies end up paralysis chaining you so long that it's faster to just reset. You know, you want to try to avoid those things if you can. And luckily for our runners, they have at least one piece of excellent defense. I believe we also saw the Magic Ring, which has some resistances on it as well, as far as statuses go, I believe. And here, Hataks has found Libra Temple. We pick Phoebe back up, still level 1, but at this point, definitely more useful than Tristram. Has some spells available to her. And we get a battle axe. Now we have one of everything. We've got at least our basic claw somewhere in the world. I don't know if the Toxis for sure picked it up. But we've got a sword, an axe, a claw, and bombs. So everything is going. Lots of things are available. They are on their way to go mode. Still most of go mode left to go. They've only got mega bombs as far as actual go mode progression is concerned. But I'm sure we'll see another important item here soon. 14 battlefields, excuse me. And speaking of, there's the Thunder Rock. That's an important item. With the Megas, that opens up Spencer without having to go underneath Aquaria. So that's significantly more convenient, although you have to make the trek all the way back there. Once they get the Mobius Crest, it will also open up another check there. Looks like Hataks is heading back to the Foresta region. I'm not sure. It looks like maybe Bone Dungeon. Maybe just going to clear out everything that's here if it's available. With that axe, he's got some checks here. In the tree, can't do the whole thing, but that's a blessing in my mind. Come to the tree when you can't do it and hope that the only thing that's necessary is this free box down here that he's about to get. There's also 6 shards that aren't too terrible to peek on your way in. Captain's Cap. All right, well, I spoke Go Mode items into existence. Captain's Cap doesn't let us do anything but launch the boat, which will come in a little bit, but you do have to have it in order to get to Go Mode. Looks like we may have had a small hiccup on Hitaxi's side. Okay, we're back now. So we won't know what was in there until he reopens his menu. And that will be exciting for all of us, I think, as he goes through the rest of these areas and clears out. Oh no, we saw it was the Captain's Cap. So we just saw him. He probably got a couple shards in the tree. We saw one. There's 2 more off to the left you can get. And then the rest of the time is just chopping down trees on his way out. So, Arrow, fantastic spell. With Megas, less useful perhaps, especially in this particular area of the overworld where the enemies are Foresta level. But you're not, if you want an offensive spell outside of white and flare and those, Arrow is the best you're going to get. Yeah, pointing out. Definitely it's looking to be a potentially quick seed. We are now, from only having 1 item for Go Mode, we are now only 2 items away from Go Mode. We need the Mobius Crest and the Dragon Claw. The Dragon Claw will let you climb across an important gap in Doom Castle, and the Mobius Crest will let you warp to the ship, as well as unlock, of course, other checks throughout the world. If the runners find Mobius Crest first and Dragon Claw last, that is the best situation for them, really, because they have limited down where the rest of things can be. Although, chat pointing out something very important as well. Flare, life, still not obtained. Sometimes you want more offense, as well as now we're 21 minutes in, and we'll point out that we are still looking at level 1 companions. So, when are our companions going to get levels, and what are they going to be? Alright, looks like Hataks made his way into Bone Dungeon to the Flamers fight. We missed the chest behind this one, so that will be a small surprise for us, I think, but we'll get to see what these 2 are. And see what else the seed is kind of pointing them to do. They can't do the tree, they can't do Pazuzu, they can't do Mount Gale. Everything else pretty available to them as long as they can get there. I don't personally remember what was blocked behind the Wakewater here, so what isn't available to them, so to speak. And we see the Venus Shield and Noble Armor. Tier 2 Shield, Tier 2 Armor pickup for Hataks. Not bad. Noble Armor is good enough to go to the final boss, for sure. The Gaia Armor provides, I think it's sleep resist on top of Noble Armor, as well as a small amount of just defense for however the stat is calculated in damage calculations. But beyond that, not super useful. Sleep can be mean, but hopefully it's not an ability that enemies like to spam at you. Skar clearing out this battlefield. I'm not sure if Hataks did this or left, so this may be a new item for us as well. And we'll see where Hataks is going. Back to the Sand Coin region, perhaps going to head to Lava Dome or the rest of Ice. Lots of options. To go over our quests again, for Tristram, we've got clear the mine battlefield, defeat Squidite, defeat Ice Pyramid, and Ghidra. And for Phoebe, it's Minotaur, 2 mini-bosses, 2 crystals, and 14 battlefields. So, Phoebes are coming up close. We've got Squidite soon, but there's, I believe, 20 battlefields on the map. It looks like Skar may be focusing on getting that Phoebe a level right now. Just trying to clear out as many battlefields as he has access to. He's got plenty of offense. It's definitely a play I approve of. Getting Phoebe some levels, the sooner you can get her white, the better. You know, at that point, you've got 2 white casters, and that's enough to beat a seed if you need to take that spell to Dark King. Definitely, 14 battlefields. Not a quest you want to see on a speed where it's otherwise shaping up to be quick, because battlefields, even with offense, if they're not all 1s or 2s, they're going to take a while. You've got animation times to sit through, unexpected attacks if you're going in low level. Like in this case, because of how quickly certain things have come, our runners still don't have a ton of levels under their belt. Hataks' Benjamin is only level 9. Skar, by virtue of having done more of these battlefields, it looks like right now, is sitting on level 12, which is a fairly good spot to be at. Get you 3 wizard spell charges. Squid putting up a little bit of a fight, but still going down fairly quickly with the power of that Excalibur. And that, I believe, is both 2 mini-bosses, so that's a Phoebe quest and Squidite. So 1 each. We've got 2 level 15 companions now. Back into Ice Pyramid and has exit. I approve, yeah. Exit gets you out of here quick. He's already done the drop down chest. That is, I don't recommend missing it. You know, you don't want to miss that, which I believe is Vanilla Noble Armor. So he can go beat Ice Pyramid Boss, which will be a crystal for Phoebe, which will get him 2, and push him up 1 more step for her. And then we can exit straight out without having to come back down, since he's already done most of that. Bomb and Mega Bombs, fantastic weapon to have through here. Pretty easy to kill most of the enemies in the Aquaria region with just 1 throw of Megas. And plenty of the enemies are actually a little weak to it, like those beholders that we just saw. Now we're going to find out what new things here the Ice Pyramid had to give us. After he explodes this floor a little bit, he'll be able to fall down a little bit and get our first peek at something new for these runners. Skar still working on these battlefields. Here we go. A lot of sleep and other statuses. That is a rude battle tile. I'm not sure if those are late Firebird or if those are Windia enemies. Either way, not playing particularly nice. And again, we've got a level 1 companion, and we still don't have a ton of levels under our Benjamin's belt. Doc's got the Gaia armor. There's sleep resist. Smartly peeking the box behind Ice Golem. I believe we had a qualifier where that was actually a dud item, and many of us, myself included, definitely fought Ice Golem for no particular reason. In this case, you do still want to get another crystal for Phoebe. It also levels up Tristram if for some reason you need to find yourself using him. Although now that we have exit on our main character, I don't see us taking up Tristram again for the rest of the season. More rude encounters for Scarcer, while Hataks takes on the Ice Golem. You wish you had Flare for this fight. The Ice Golem goes down fairly quickly to Flare, but can otherwise be kind of a meanie. He likes to throw out AoEs as he gets lower in health, and that can catch you by surprise or just whittle through the health you have available to you faster than you expect. Or, in particularly unpleasant circumstances, affect both party members with a status ailment you don't resist. DB's White's this seed is at 23, so after Hataks clears this Ice Golem, he will have access to White, which is fantastic. The only spell Phoebe gains this seed at 34 is Blizzard. Wonderful snowman spell. Visually appealing, effectiveness in battle somewhat questionable. Thunder from the Ice Golem. Meanwhile, Scarcer dipped into the mine, and I completely missed what was in the chest there that he managed to nab. Trying to clear out more battlefields, it looks like, as he comes out. As Hataks re-enters Ice Pyramid, probably to pick up a shard he left behind. Yes, indeed. And that path, I believe, will not lead him to that shard, unfortunately, unless I'm mistaken. That shard, this is the path to get to the hidden room. The shard he saw before, I believe, is the far bottom left door. Will take you to there. It's the upper portion, the upper left portion of the zigzag room. Ah, perfect. There you go. The Cupid locket. Thank you all very much. The tracker as well, getting that marked down. Another wonderful thing to have. Doesn't help you get closer to go mode, but it does help you live longer through most fights. More resistances, which, as we've said several times already, very, very valuable in these, especially with the script shuffle. Scarcer heading back, making some decisions. It looks like not completely sure on what he wants to commit to doing. Something I definitely can understand. With so much available to the runners so quickly, they're grateful probably that they don't also have Dragonclaw at this point, because Dragonclaw would open up literally everything to hunt for this Mobius Crest. And that's not a situation I personally like to be in. Maybe these runners, thrive on that sort of stress, on making the right decision when you have 13. But that is not me. So I'm excited to see sort of what their decisions are now, as the checks are going to narrow ever so quicker and quicker for both of them. Looks like Skar moving on, coming over here to take on Squid. Did not finish getting the 14 battlefields, that Phoebe needs. There probably weren't quite enough available to him there, and he wanted to continue moving through the seed, as one does. You don't want to feel like you're stuck in one area too long, probably, before you're getting more things done. Hataks doing a quick map scan to see what else is available. I wonder if they will remember that they have the Thunder Rock to open up the one check from Spencer at the end of the Windia area before they do other things. Or, in his case, it looks like, here we go, going into a Lavadum. Oh, yes, and chat points out, and you are correct. Hataks has the Venus key as well, so that would be 2 checks there. 2 in Spencer's cave, and that could, Mobius Crest. Now we have 3, count them, 3 checks in Spencer's cave through turning in the Thunder Rock. So I wonder if that decision will be made soon, if at all. He's still got another Mega Bomb chest here, as well as a lot of boxes to hunt for shards. I'm not sure what the shard count is for either one of them, so. Yes. Artea pointing out, because we have a Claw and the Libra Crest as well as Mega Bombs. All three were already available there. You just have to go the long way. Skar finally getting that exit. I'm sure he's a little upset not to have had that sooner, but not going to be sad to have it before, say, the Doom Castle box, where it loves to hide. Cheeky enemy blocking the path here for the second Mega Bomb chest in Lava Dome for Hataks. We're still in the Ice Pyramid area, so these enemies aren't going to prove too much of a threat. The Aquaria region enemies going to go down to one action from either companion. And we see there is the Zonk item. Because the Sun Coin, the Sky Coin, isn't directly in a box, one of the key item boxes turns into some consumables. So the Lava Dome play maybe not turning out as fruitful as Hataks has hoped, although you do get some levels and some more shards here, so we'll see what his count is by the end. Generally, you hope that by the time you've done Ice Pyramid and Lava Dome, as well as explored the rest of the map and picked up any stragglers, that you're pretty close to 24. Skar making his way back to this Ice Pyramid drop down, take on Ice Golem as well. Yeah, just gonna go all the way. At least for shards with exit, he could dive in all the way to the boss room. And if Hydra, if you're not feeling Hydra, you could leave if you wanted to. Do I recommend it? Not always. Although, early megas at exit, I'd leave probably. I'd dive the whole thing and leave. You never know exactly what, you're going to get. He's looking for exactly one item, I believe, right? The Dragon Claw. So, fading one boss, maybe in his mind, that's worth it. This is not a place I like to do that, just because of how long it takes to do the walk. Skar taking on the Ice Golem. As we see Hataks continue his way through Lava Dome, fighting the many enemies that, despite 25% enemy density, still love to clog up these one-wide hallways that we have in many of the dungeons in this randomizer. Although, benefit, you get some experience points. Wow, that is very sad to see. No shards. Oh, nice. Skar must have picked up Flare, perhaps at one of those battlefields that Skar did that was blue that I believe might have been left behind. Flare make quick work of the Ice Golem, as we just saw. Usually 2 flares, or a flare and another, high-power wizard spell is enough to just take him down. And then you don't have to deal with seeing, multiple AoE attacks or phases or any of that. Alright, Skar heading immediately north into the Lava Dome. I like it. It's super close. It's super dense. At this point, he's looking for shards. Oh, he goes up first. Okay, I see that. Killing some enemies. He's going to get plenty of experience as well. Although at the higher level he is, it won't push him quite as far forward as the levels did push Hataks through here. We're still looking at wanting perhaps a few more before going on to Dark King. 16 is maybe the bare minimum that you really want to go into the Dark King fight with on your Benjamin. It gives you 4 wizard spell charges, so you're going to use a couple seeds. It only gives you 640 HP, as you can see, which isn't a terrible buffer for the potential abilities Dark King could be throwing out at you. And triage is something to take in mind. If your companion has to life Benjamin every turn to get through the fight, you're not able to push out a lot of damage. So, lots of things to consider for the runners when deciding how far to level, what companions to bring, especially depending on what spells they have available. Skar with Flare, that's what you want to have for Dark King as far as Benjamin goes. White's as good as Phoebe's going to bring it, so, you know, you're set there. I'm not sure if we've seen Life picked up by either runner. It does not look like Skar has it. We have Exit and Cure, I believe that was for him, and that was it as far as white magic spells go. More battlefield for Skar, bringing him inevitably closer to that level 23 Phoebe with white. And whatever key items are hiding away in these places, I'm not sure at this point in the race which one Hataks has done and which one Hataks has left behind. Ah, yes, that was done earlier. The mask. Volcano's right there to the left. Oh, no, that was a live forest. Well, Volcano is available somewhere. I don't believe we've seen Medusa take it on, so she is a mini-boss with one check still on the table. Looks like Skarsher instead going to head into Bone Dungeon. Several checks here. Very dense. Still get some shards as well, so I definitely understand prioritizing this. Lava Dome just giving us basic bombs, not what you want to see. It does open up one tile on the overworld map, which I'm not sure if it is anything important or not. But here we go. See what Hataks chooses next. And that choice is the aforementioned Medusa. A quick jaunt up here to the top of the volcano, which you can see the enemies that you can't avoid, at least this time, because having that wonderful mask, the item. But with white and flare, or white and white even, this Medusa probably not going to stick around for very long or give Hataks very much of a hard time. And yet another Sky Fragment, so shoring up that count on the way to 24. Alright, that's where the Venus key came from. We see that now on Skarsher's side. Excellent. It was the chest before Flamers in Bone Dungeon. We still have those checks on the table for our runners. That's 3 checks now. They've been hanging out for a while. I'm not even sure either one have turned in the Thunder Rock to auto yet. So we'll see if that is on their mind. Thank you, the Quake chest. Oh, and there we go. Hataks. Medusa was the play. Dragon Claw puts Hataks in go mode, withstanding potential shards. Now, also some levels, probably, maybe not. 23 Phoebe with white, 14 Benjamin, not the most health to work with. I don't believe has life either. Yep, nope. We see no life there, just Cure and Exit. So, you know, 3 quick checks here that you have to really do anyway. As well as there's the boat and Doom Castle. So 5 things between him and the Dark King to potentially get some of those things that you'd want. Or he could go somewhere else. Now, that's the decision to make. Do you dive the boat, try to get some levels, see what's there, or do you clear up most of the overworld? I believe if he gets 17 battlefield, we will move his Phoebe up to level 34, which would put her significantly in a more comfortable place, at least in my mind, as far as health and charges go. And it gets Benjamin some of that much needed experience to get you closer and closer to, you know, level 20, really. You don't see people often going past level 20 on purpose, because you get 5 charges at 20, and everything past that, you've got to go to 24 to get another charge, and that's a chore. So, you know, we probably don't want to do that. Rewarded Hataks by getting Flare on the battlefield he chose, so I'm sure he's feeling very good about that. Significantly more damage output during the Dark King fight than having white on your Benjamin. So now we'll see. Is he going to go just hit up these checks here where Scarcer is and give it a run? Maybe pick up XP on the boat? We will see. The Elixir, Gemini Crest, and what else here hiding away? And Basic Axe. So not really the items you wanted to see. Nothing particularly useful at this point. You can't even use the elixir yet since we haven't done Tree Wither. So alright, decision time for Hataks. Battlefields, experience, looks like that's the answer. Maybe not taking that battlefield, doesn't want to fight through those perhaps. Doesn't want to deal with the low amount of experiences we're probably going to give. Although I like to clear out any of the battlefields available for me. You never know what the battlefield reward itself is going to be. Since I believe the total XP on the battlefields at the end is randomized. Scarcer taking on some more battlefields. Clearing out, getting some more experience. Still needs to get both the Mobius Crest and the Dragon Claw for Go Mode, and I have already forgotten where the Mobius Crest was this evening. I know the Dragon Claw was from Medusa, which Scarcer will need to do to get Go Mode, but he also is going to need that Mobius Crest. Looks like he's heading to Medusa, so the Dragon Claw will shortly be in his future. However, without the Mobius Crest, let's hope that doesn't lead him astray into somewhere, let's say, stinky like Pazuzu's Tower or the tree. More battlefield for Hataks, quickly going down with these white casts. All it takes is some seeds and some time at this point, and you're grooving. You know there's 20 out there somewhere, so you gotta leave 3 behind. You can be choosy, but at this point he's probably just gonna go proximity on his way back to Windia, and then I imagine hop on the boat. We're level 16 now. That's a more acceptable feeling level to potentially go into the Dark King fight at. Level 16, it all depends. I think with a Phoebe, I would give it a shot a lot of times, especially once I got her to level 34. I feel less comfortable taking on Dark King fights with Ruben, say, at low levels because of how slow Ruben is a lot of the time. He just doesn't do himself or myself any benefits to go in slow and squishy. And indeed, that Dragon Claw, sending Scarcer on a bit of an unnecessary side quest. He's heading into Pazuzu's Tower, peeking for the boss as well. There's 2 checks that are free, barring enemies on path, which we've seen plenty of this seed. But they're fairly quick to get. If I get an early Dragon Claw, I think Pazuzu's Tower is a perfectly acceptable play, depending on what area of the world it's in. You don't want to dive in here and windy enemies when you're low level and run into all the things in the way. But that box there is a key item chest that Scarcer probably wants to try to pick up. Pazuzu's Tower, one of the more confusing dungeons in this randomizer. Definitely, for me, it took me the longest out of all of them to figure out just how to navigate efficiently and even correctly, because there are paths that split and there's odd and even floors, and some of them don't connect the way you think they do. So, all right, Hataks still hunting down our last battlefields. Where are we going next? Quickly warping via the Mobius crest over to the Windia town. Is he going to just go on the boat? Is he tired of looking for battlefields? No, there are some more right here. We have a Pazuzu fighting on Skar's screen. I'm not sure which floor he's on. Floor 4. Not a great floor to fight him on, really. Kind of annoying. You've got to lock him here, talk to him, move him up, lock him on 6, and then go back to floor 5. So, fun times. Is Skar going to commit to the Pazuzu play? We will see. He's at least moving him up. And we're going to lock him in play. Does get life for his troubles, which, depending on what Dark King has, could be a big deal. If Dark King is constantly throwing out instant death abilities, without life, if one of those hits your companion, you're kind of sad. And probably looking at a reset. And, Dark King has definitely been known to do that to runners more than once. We've all seen feeds at this point posted on the Discord or run through the qualifiers or people's practice where they have some pretty awful stories about the things Dark King has decided to randomize into. Hataks grabbing some more encounters on the boat, an excellent place to get some final experience in most cases, and running into some rude Medusas on the way with some stone abilities. Gotta love it. While Skar fights the Jerkbird. So we'll see what Pazuzu has to give us today as a reward. Maybe it'll be something good. Although at this point, we've seen pretty much everything important or nice. Wake water in the boat for Hataks. We know it's not going to be life or exit, or Cupid Locket, because Skarsor already has that. So this is a decision point for Hataks. It looks like he might still be searching for some last shards, and he wanted to come peek the boat. But yeah, 23 Phoebe, 16, 17, 18. Is he 18, 19, Benjamin? You could get another level fairly easily, hopefully maybe in Doom Castle. But yeah, it looks like he's maybe missing a few shards. These runners are too fast in their menus. And they probably are using a tracker that keeps track of how many shards they have, or just better at counting than I am. So I don't know how many he's missing, but it looks like some number greater than 0 Hataks does not have. So he's scrambling, looking for what he wants to do. Not sure what the play is here. Lots of options if we're missing shards. None of them are particularly great. It looks like he has 22, so we're missing 2. That is more than you want to be missing. And he's going to head into Pazuzu's tower. Well, now this is very interesting. I'm not sure how many shards Skarsor picked up, but this could end up with him getting life as a result as well, which I'm sure even if the shards aren't here, he would be happy to see. However, making the decision to leave on floor 2 after scouting, that's 6 boxes. That's a fair amount of boxes to peek. The tree, all right. The tree is a call. There is the Mobius crest warp at the front that he could have peeked for potentially 2 to take you into the tree houses, which would maybe be more convenient than just diving straight into the tree. But the tree is fairly dense as well. So, however, now that he's left Pazuzu's tower without going deeper, we know he's not going to find the life spell, which could prove, a difference maker as this feed moves on to the Dark King fight. Alright, here we go. There is the last shard Dox needs, I believe. One more enemy in his way, and then he will be capable of going to Dark King. Now, whether or not he feels comfortable with the levels that he has, or is still going to hunt down those last couple battlefields, perhaps for Phoebe somewhere, we will see. Meanwhile, Skar, still fighting Jerkbird's Jerkbird for a reason. The pattern of this fight is Uh, it's one of the things I love about Mystic Quest is the boss fights. It's one of the things I don't love about Mystic Quest is the boss fights, because the bosses can be very rude. And Pazuzu is, Jerkbird, so super, super rude potential. Uh, Spike shield timing, and just the sheer amount of HP he generally has makes him a chore to get through. And it looks like, moving on, Hataks, level 19, heading to Doom Castle. We'll see if he picks up another encounter here, tries to get level 20. If he peeks the Doom Castle chest, hoping for life, we will see. Well, alright, no choice. Take an encounter. Here you go. Skar, meanwhile, rewarded with the Tree Wither from Pazuzu. Now, that opens up several things, but nothing particularly fast. It will, however, give him access if he decides to turn in Tree Wither, which is in the Firebird region, I believe, and fight the Minotaur. That will give him access to a level 34 Phoebe, which, as we see on Hataks' side, he does not have. So, another potential difference maker on Skar's side. That said, he still needs to find the Mobius Crest, which, for the life of me at this point in the seed, I also do not recall where we saw Hataks pick it up. I'm not sure if it was Dual Head and Skar decided not to finish Lava Dome earlier. I feel like it was around that time. But, alright, it looks like Hataks deciding to grind an incredibly easy encounter right here at the front of the door to get his level 20. Gives you an extra wizard charge, gives you an extra 40 HP, which can be the difference maker for sure on abilities. You never love seeing Dark King come out with an ability that just one-shots you over and over and over again. Okay, so I'm being told by our wonderful tracker that Mobius Crest was in Lava Dome, the first Mega Grenade chest, which it sounds like Scarcer has somehow faded. I can definitely speak to fading checks that are on path on accident, which is what probably happened here. I'm not sure what else he got around the same time, but oftentimes for me, when I get 2 or 3 key items in a row, or something that leads to something that leads to something, my brain skips to step 2. And instead of paying attention to step 1, and I forget the thing that's right in front of me. So, Scarcer has come down, is also still missing the cap, actually, now that I look at his tracker, which I believe was in the Alive Forest, which is right here to the left, if he would just chop down some trees. But, Hataks, level 20, Speeds, level 23, Phoebe, heading into Dark King. Let's see what happens. Will we have a rude one? Will we have a chill one? We will see. Meanwhile, Scarcer backtracking, trying to figure out what he wants to do, where he wants to go, what he has left to do. Now, we know he needs to head back into Lava Dome, as well as hit up the Alive Tree to get his go mode. I believe he's also probably still missing some shards at this point as well, so... Alright, not one-shotting Phoebe, wouldn't one-shot Benjamin either. That's excellent. You can cure up with Phoebe and keep pushing damage. Love to see it. Aaron on the side of caution. Not a bad play, to be honest. Spamming cure spells and just kind of take it slow. See what ability he's going to throw at you. Honestly, if you're going to wipe in a Dark King fight, wipe early. See what he's got in the first 2 tiers as far as abilities go, if you're going to, wipe to something. And then you can go in and maybe throw out some defense strats, Madam President, Mr. President strats, as they have been called before. They have definitely proven useful in more than one seed. Meanwhile, Skar takes on some more battlefield. Some skeletons, not nice, but Flare should clean them up fairly quickly. Gotta love still seeing windy enemies outspeed you when you're, you know, in the high teens. But it is a thing that happens. And with the Wake Water, that's going to send him back to the back of Focus Tower. He's going to get some checks that we haven't seen before. The Apollo Helm, we'd love to see that. Although, you know, Hataks do them without, and Blizzard, you don't really care to see that. Who do we have? We have the Behemoth, the first boss, the last boss. Let's see if he has randomized something more dangerous, because so far, you know, steady triage with this Phoebe is getting Hataks through this fight fairly well. I love this sprite. The way it transforms, spoilers, upon hitting phase 4 is fantastic. And a very fitting sprite. Yes, I believe Hataks is somebody who is familiar with the vanilla Mystic Quest speedrun. So this is the first thing you need to overcome in that speedrun is this fight right here. Some more whites, some more flares, still playing nice. You throw out a blind, but at this point we're using spells, man. We don't care. On to phase 4, getting a little flamey, a little excited. Maybe he'll change it up and start dealing some damage, or is he going to stay the same old pretty chill Dark King? And oh, there we go. GG. We have Hataks finishing at just over an hour. Excellent run. Fantastically played. Definitely some choices to be made at the end there. Going in with the 23 Phoebe was fantastic. You know, so we love to see that. I think we will perhaps get them in here for an interview in a second. We will see. Definitely a GG. Hataks still working on a potential interview here. Meanwhile, Scarsher still going back over the seed, trying to figure out what he has left behind that he wants to do to get whatever he's missing. All right. And with that sound, we're joined by Hataks. GG, Hataks. GG. Well played for sure. Definitely some interesting choices there at the end as far as the situation you were put into once you got your actual go mode. How are you feeling right now? You've had a little bit of time to decompress after the seed. You won. That's 2-0 going on to the round of 8. How do you feel, and how did the seed feel?
Seriously, extremely lucky. I think every boss fight was basically a scuffed version of it. I don't know how I got through some of those, honestly.
You definitely went in without a lot of power for a long time. We saw level 1 companions for, 20 plus minutes across the board, as well as, white being the only real heavy hitting spell you had for a long time. So definitely some interesting fights that probably took a little bit longer than you would have wanted, I imagine.
So there was a really embarrassing thing that happened in this run. I got to the ship, and after full clearing the ship, I realized that I was short shards, and I didn't know where to go after that.
We definitely saw, it's definitely a problem, I feel like, when you head to ship and don't quite have enough shards, to clear it out, because you can never bank on ship giving you quite enough. It looks like you made the decision to quickly go Pazuzu and peek the first 2 floors, and then leave and head to the tree to get the rest of your shards, which didn't take a terrible amount of time. Now, you went into the Dark King fight without life. Was there any thought of maybe continuing to climb the Pazuzu Tower to get that life spell maybe in those 2 boxes while you were looking for the rest of your shards? Or were you just focused on going?
So I took Ben to level 20, so I think you guys got to see a lot of level grinding, which you normally don't see in one of these speed runs. And I got to level 20 because Phoebe was only at 23. I didn't have Locket, I didn't have Life. I mean, it was kind of scary. But most
Definitely.
of Dark King's hits will generally stay under 800, which is the magic number. So I figure I can just send with Flare, which I forgot I had until the very like right before the statue. And if I kept Phoebe on just curing, just blind curing the whole time, I could probably grind out a Dark King victory. And then Dark King threw pretty much only status effects in rounds 3 and 4, so that was great.
Definitely, it looked like Dark King playing nice compared to several of the seeds we've already seen while playing this flag set. I know. Um, Definitely some interesting choices as far as quests. Phoebe had the gotta love it 17 or 14 battlefields quest, which I think at some point you may have considered and then decided it wasn't worth perhaps finishing out her leveling, and that 23 was going to be good enough.
Yeah, I was definitely grinding battlefields for experience because I was short there. I was under leveled, I think, almost the entire run. And when I got to Ben at 19 and I figured I could finish the job, I said, okay, I'm just gonna chance Dark King. I'm gonna see what he has, and if he just completely wipes the deck with us, we're gonna come back. We're gonna level. We're gonna chase battlefields because I wasn't gonna chase Tree Wither unless I found it easily. Probably climb Pazuzu's tower for 2. Turn in Wakewater for 2, and then yeah, just level at that point. I think battlefields are probably gonna be faster than trying to find wherever Tree Wither was hiding.
Definitely, the tree wither we found out on Scar's side was actually at Pazuzu himself. So, yeah, not something you probably would have chanced into scouting around for some quick extra levels if Dark King decided to play mean.
Oh yeah, no, I being in go mode and just needing levels, I probably would not have seen Pazuzu at all.
Definitely, he was on floor 4 as well, so not a particularly fun floor for him to be on if you want to fight him. It did allow Skar to get level 34 Phoebe because the Minotaur fight became open. It does look like, the 14 battlefields quest was just too much. There's 20 in the world, but 14 is pretty much all of them, and you've got to, without Wakewater as well, you're limited. So definitely a good call, I think, to go in at 23, give it a shot. Definitely smart also to get that level 20 on Benjamin and have the HP to withstand, hopefully, anything the Dark King can throw out at you.
Yep, that was definitely the thought. And so there was also another spot for routing. I think it was early on. I was in the Aquaria area, and I kept having to reset out of battlefields because they were just absolutely some strong monsters. And my tracker decided to give me the Sun Coin, even though I didn't have it. So I thought, hey, look, I can go to the Windia area and chance that stuff. And then I was very confused when I got to the door and it wouldn't open.
Okay, I do believe I remember seeing you in there, and I wasn't sure like if you got a bunch of key items all at once or what happened there, but that definitely explains it. The tracker throwing you off the trail of what you actually had done. There were definitely some mean battlefields early. Again, not helped by the fact that your companions were base level for a very long time, and you were forced to switch out of the probably preferable Phoebe into Tristram for your progression before moving on out of that first region of the game.
Yes, that scared me a lot. Because I didn't know where I was gonna find Phoebe. Like, you can kind of figure out where your partners are or where they're gonna be, but then like because Phoebe is actually in Libra Temple, and you have to like get her, the Libra Temple sprite is the same as all the other sprites, and not running into it in any of the early regions definitely like was not helpful.
Definitely, it was sad to see her go so quickly since she started with fire and thunder, but then you have to abandon her before you go anywhere in the race. It's like, oh, sad.
Yep. And then I was really hoping to be able to do like some out of logic stuff with Phoebe too, because in this flag set, your starting partner is not in logic, just because there's no guarantee where you're gonna pick them up. So I was hoping to take Phoebe to Wintry Cave and see what she's gonna give me.
And yes, exactly. It's nice to maybe get something that's a little further down the chain, maybe skip, some fetch quests potentially to get there. I know I'm always looking for those potential ways to circumvent the game's intended path because that can be slow, and we're all about going fast.
Yep. But for going fast, this is the second seed in a row on stream and a bunch of practice ones where I've been in shard go mode.
How do you feel? What's your preferred go mode? Let's ask that question. If there was one thing you need before you can go, fight Dark King, what would you want it to be?
Oh, hands down, Dragon Claw go mode. Because I am not going. Because Dragon Claw go mode means I'm not going to Mount Gale, Pazuzu's Tower, or Giant Tree. I can go straight to the ship. If I'm really feeling spicy, I can go to Doom Castle and find the Dragon Claw in that silly down corner basement chest.
Yep.
But it means that all of the really long dungeons I'm free from.
I am right there with you, and that was something you all got to enjoy for most of this seed, really, which was definitely nice and something we talked about. Yeah, taking Tree, Pazuzu, as well as Mount Gale off the table entirely as far as where you need to go early and for forever, hopefully, is always nice, right? Always nice.
Yes, very.
So with that, you're 2-0 over Skar. You're going to move on to the round of 8. Do you know who you're facing next?
I don't. I don't know. I didn't look at the bracket.
It's actually me.
Oh, hey.
How funny.
Right on.
But yes, so that said, are you going to just keep playing how you play, practicing? Any ideas? Anything you're going to work on kind of, between now and whenever we manage to get scheduled for our round of 8 matches?
Not forgetting where I am in the game, because that's 2 times now I've basically stared at the game praying for like deliverance, some wisdom, some knowledge. Anytime you see me just taking on long chains of battlefields, it's basically my way of trying to just buy time to think about what to do next.
Makes sense. I'm definitely someone who very recently also had a moment in a seed where I contemplated my decisions and really just kind of thought about what I've done and what is out there that could possibly be, ready for me. So this flag set I found very interesting. I'm excited to see so many people having a lot of fun with it, and definitely looking forward to our matches when they come up in the next several weeks. I'm not sure how long we have to schedule, but I know that I think we're the first 2 people through the round of 16. The first ones who've done all their matches. So that's excellent. We'll see kind of as the week goes on how more people shake up. Is there anyone you're keeping an eye out specifically to face later on down the road, perhaps, or that you'd like to face?
No, the rest of the bracket really sucks. It's like I don't want to see any of the other bracket. I like our bracket. If we can just like end it right here and call this the finals, that'd be great.
We'll cut it in half into 2 tournaments, right there.
There are strong runners all across the bracket. It's exceedingly dangerous. I think, man, I should pull up the bracket actually. I think like Fred and Link are playing their matches, I think, pretty soon. Faflu is definitely a strong runner. Ardia is just absolutely killing it right now. I don't want to see any of those people.
Fair enough. I'm sure. I mean, one of us will have to see some of them as it goes on. But you are not wrong that there are a lot of strong competitors across this tournament. People who have experience with vanilla speedrunning, as well as some of those who have just touched the randomizer. So it's definitely going to be interesting and fun to see how things work out as everything moves on.
Yeah. So Potato, if you could just do me a favor and when we play, if you could just run your seed twice again, that would be great.
No promises. After last night, I definitely know I have to keep better track of the things I have actually done and not get a little itchy on the exit trigger finger, because that is
Oh.
something that I have done on numerous practice seeds and is the reason that last night got so out of hand for me for a while I got lost. So.
Yeah, I wasn't really even thinking about it until just now, but like yeah, because I got exit early from Squidite, and then I went to Pyramid, and I think Pyramid fourth floor had the progression. But if I had dipped out earlier than that, then that would have been a problem.
Yeah, that is true. It was the drop down in ice this seed that had
Hmm.
forced progression, so you couldn't miss it like I managed to. But it's definitely an interesting spot for there to be forced progression in a seed. I feel like without bombs or a claw to finish that checkout. I don't like making that dive in, but we've seen a number of seeds where the game is just like, no, you're gonna make this trip and you're gonna come back later and you're gonna enjoy it. Well, thank you again for an excellent race and an excellent interview. And I look forward to seeing you in the next round. It looks like Scarcer has gotten go mode on his side and is going to be heading on to Dark King soon. So he's got a level 20. Level 20 Benjamin and a level 34 Phoebe, because he did manage to get that tree wither.
Oh, that's nice. I think I might hang out with you and watch this too.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's watch Skar take on and see exactly what the RNG is like for him, because that's something I've definitely noticed playing a number of these seeds with some friends. Is the Dark King can be, I don't know, like a parent sometimes, and have favorite children even though he doesn't want to say it. Uh,
Oh,
there will be runners that he doesn't throw his nasty abilities at, and there will be runners that he just wants to spam status ailments on. So we will see.
yep. So that little ninja down there in the basement. I don't know what happened to him on my last fight with him. There were three of them. I swear Phoebe cast white and I did something and then he was still around and I didn't know what happened.
I
I
wasn't
I
watching closely enough, but I did see it take 2 rounds. I was like, what? Like,
and then Phoebe was dead and I was like, what's going on?
I know I'm working on the mashing to speed up after battle things, and sometimes between rounds I find myself accidentally selecting some strange commands. So, all right, we've
All
got
right.
flare white for Scarcer, yeah.
Yeah, so Skar should be able to send it a lot faster than I did.
Yeah, he's got 440 more HP to work with on the Phoebe, so can play a little riskier with her overall health pool and not worry about just healing up every turn in case something awful happens. Plus, he has life. So really, yeah, you can full send, and when somebody dies, worry about it, or when somebody's really low, worry about it. This is my preferred sort of setup, is the full toolkit.
Oh yeah, I like having the full toolkit too. I just haven't seen it. Well, just today didn't lend itself to it.
Right? If you want to go fast, you gotta not take some things with you to the Dark King fight, and there is the balance, I think, that makes some of these runs so interesting and thought-provoking as far as, like, how do I approach this scenario? Skar, luckily, gets to just sort of, push a lot of damage. He's got all the best armor and resists available to him. He's got flare, white, life. You know, you can't You can't have more than what Scarcer has brought to this fight, other than levels, which wouldn't do you a ton.
He has an Apollo helm and a locket. Where did he get those things?
Apollo Helm was, I don't remember, a boss I think that you didn't end up fighting. He went through Pazuzu's Tower, so he got some things there as well. So he opened up Wake Water, did the back of Focus Tower. He did everything except for Tree, and I think it might be Tree. Might be the only thing that Scarcer left on the table, actually.
Okay, yeah, my list of things was getting pretty long.
Yeah, Apollo Helm from Dullahan is what chat is saying, and that does sound correct, yes.
Oh yeah, Skar is just full sending it on this behemoth here.
Oh yeah, well your phase 4 had I think 2 spell cast worth of HP, so it should be too long. Oh, Scar running out of charges on Phoebe. Oh, you never love that. And there we go. GG Scarcer with a time of, it looks like 1:19:21. Official in the race room, fantastic. GG to Scarcer. I think we'll be able to get them in here for an interview, perhaps, in a moment, if he's coming. Oh, yeah, looks like he's here. We are joined by Skar. GG, Skar.
GG. I hate a live forest. Can we remove it?
The freebie with the cap, definitely kind of hiding there in the first area, right? Out of sight, maybe, for a long time. Your axe didn't come at a particularly convenient time, I think, to go hit that up, so.
Yeah, I just didn't want to touch Gidra, and the couple of times that Gidra did come to mind, I didn't have Dragonclaw. And then when I got Dragonclaw, it's like, let's go do the other Dragonclaw things, because, again, I hate a live forest.
Definitely understood. This was a seed where, depending on your routing, Hataks got Dragonclaw last, so kind of avoided those places that you want to avoid in a seed, Pazuzu's Tower or Live Forest, and Mount Gale as far as checks go. So you had a merry adventure to find everything. It did give you life, as well as the Cupid Locket and the Apollo Helm and some extra levels kind of quickly. But what do you think of this seed overall? I know the quests weren't particularly favorable to getting the ball rolling on this seed.
I don't know, this was one of the freest Phoebes I've had. It's like too many bosses, 2 crystals, and then too many bosses was pretty quick and easy, and then 2 crystals was pretty quick and easy. Got Flare early to deal with what's his name, and got Megas early to deal with Flamer, or to get to Flamerus.
Yeah, Megas early is a very nice thing to have, I feel like, in any seed. I'll definitely take Megas, as soon as I can get them, and that was your first bomb in this seed, so opened up a lot as far as the seed went, because at that point you all had a claw and a sword, I believe, so.
Yeah. And I got to run out of bombs, which was fun.
Definitely, yeah, gotta love doing it, especially when there's not like a refresher quest on the table and you're not opening up more brown boxes that might potentially refill some of those bombs. Was Gin Skip something you thought about doing, a little good old elevator storage, or had we already done mine by the time you ran out of bombs?
Oh, I'd already done mine and Pazuzu when I ran out of bombs. I also don't know how to do Gin Skip or Elevator Skip. I didn't even. How do you Gin Skip? How do you skip Gin?
It's the elevator skip. It's an interesting thing where you walk up the conveyor belt behind Jin, above Jin, and then like walk to the right, press down and A, and your character will start mega bombing nothing into weird space, and it will just move you to the space behind Jin, and you can go into the door.
Oh, I'll have to check that sometime.
Yeah,
I want to try that too.
It's fantastic. Definitely hard to do, right? You need 0 bombs, and you need to have a situation where you don't need to kill Jin, right? Which in this seed would have been fine. Too many bosses, that gives you a lot of flex for which mini bosses they are. And then there was no, kill Jin himself thing. But the 0 bomb part is probably the hardest part to get that lined up for you. But definitely excellent showing between you two. Fun race. What do you think of the flags in this tournament so far, Skar?
They're fun flags. I like entrance shuffle, and like I sort of figured out quickly that plays a lot like FFR, where you just kind of sometimes do everything. Clearly, it's not quite do everything like in the FF1 rando, but
Right. It's
being
definitely
able to
got a
skip.
lot of similarities.
Yeah, being able to. Well, it's developed by the same people. Wildham is one of the big devs in FFR.
Yes, big shout outs to Wild Ham, who I believe is in chat and was helping us set up this race and everything.
Yeah, I like going out of logic with the crests. They maybe should be in logic because it would make certain seed. It would make it less likely that you have to kill Hydra with with a level 7 companion. But
Right. It's always an interesting gamble because, you could skip a series of fetch quest items that lead to whatever you're going to get in the long run anyway. So you never know when going out of logic in these is the right call and will end up saving you time or not.
yeah, and it's it's gambling. Gambling's fun in randomizers, especially when I hadn't touched Mystic Quest until I started practicing for the tournament, and I'm also doing other randomizer tournaments, so it's like I don't have a ton of time to practice this one. Well, now I don't need to practice it because I'm out of the tournament, but that's neither here nor there.
That's fair, but honestly, I mean, like you said, you started playing this when the tournament was announced, so had picked it up so quickly, made it through the qualifiers, put up the times you did. It's definitely something to be said, and the races, you're no slouch, putting up good times. Killing lots of bosses, getting lots of stuff done. So I hope we see more of you in the Mystic Quest Rando stuff that continues on. Maybe some comms and tracking as the tournament goes on.
Yeah, definitely comms and tracking. These are fun to watch. They're nice, quick, usually quick.
Usually quick, yes. Ask Wild Ham and Flipeel about usually quick, I think. But yes, I agree. I love them. The time frame's great. Thank you both, Hataks and Skar. Do you have any last words? Anything you want to say before we get out of here tonight?
I think Skar said it best. Strat is to full clear all of the areas some of the time.
That does sound like a viable strategy for sure. Definitely a way. You got to make those calls of when to fade what, and just what you're not feeling. Just go somewhere else, check something else out, and just hope. Right? That's all you can do.
Yep. Next time I'll get lucky and not get unlucky. Easy money.
Exactly. Fade the harp, as someone in chat has posted. That's a different game, but if there was a harp in this one, I'm sure it would get faded.
I think Tree is harp, honestly.
Yeah, Tree is probably as close to harp. If any of you are familiar with Final Fantasy IV's randomizer, the twin harp check is what's being referenced, and it is. It's a long one with some cutscenes, so it definitely some people try to avoid it because it can be stinky. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. I'm Fried Potato, joined by Socket, helping us on tracking all night long. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody in chat and everybody watching, everybody setting up this tournament. It's been fantastic to participate in, and I look forward to seeing more races and competing further on. And I think with that, we're going to say goodnight. Have a